What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gray, your one and only corrupted angel, and today, people, we're back with a gun. This time it is a weapon review. We've got some new Inner strip. I hope you guys enjoy it. But we wanted it to be a action movie style like no other, baby. That's right. It is the AX-52 time. If you guys haven't seen this gun, you get it from the Hex. I've been grinding the Hex like crazy recently, so I'm just collecting all of the Hex guns, as you might see with the rest of the loadout. But we finally finished working on this bad boy, and wow, what a gun this really is. Now, there are two builds that you can do with this gun, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But the idea behind it is your typical machine gun, similar to a Bratton or a Boston or anything like that, right? Where you just aim down sights, you shoot many bullets. It's a little bit more of a single target, no real AoE craziness. And that's really not the biggest deal in the world, but I could understand if it is a problem for some people. So consider that in mind. This gun is very flexible though, really easy to get into, and we'll go into the build right now. So for the first build, it is this one right here. This is a crit-based build with serration as well as galvanized app and galvanized chamber in here. So serration giving us damage and sprint speed. I am a big proponent of sprint speed with the serration mod. Obviously, you might not be. You might be a bit of a I don't mind the speed of a standard Warframe, but I personally want to go as fast as humanly possible all the time. That's why I usually always run the Praetos, the Serration, and usually barrel diffusion on my my pistols to help with that as well. But we've got the galvanized aptitude, like I said, with the 80% status chance and more additional damage for every single status chance that we apply. We're going to be applying quite a fair bit with this gun. We've got galvanized chamber for all of the multi-shot in the world. This is really, really important for this weapon because you just need so much multi-shot to really pump up this damage number. There is an alternative, and we will talk about that in a second. And then we've got critical delay. I did not mean to remove that. Critical delay, and we've also got vital sense. Critical delay, vital sense, obviously giving us 78% crit chance and 6.5% crit multiplier. This is a crit weapon, as you can see, really high base crit damage and really decent critical chance. With just critical delay, it bumps up to 78%. Super valuable there. We do have primed shred on this build as well, and we have that because, again, we're just a standard gun, so as much punch through and fire rate as we can add is better. It just means that we're going to be pretty much putting down as many bullets into crowds as possible and killing as many enemies as possible in one clip as we can, rather than individually killing one guy at a time. With a gun like this, it's always really important. It's one of the reasons why I think the Bolt or Prime works really well with its Incarnate, because it gets a bunch of punch through, and this is the reason why we take that. Then we build a element. Now, this is one of the most flexible parts. The element itself is really not exactly anything to write home about. I picked corrosive here just because we're putting a crap load of corrosive procs on something, but you could easily put something like viral for rhyme rounds. This works too. I personally already have a Panzervolt Defiler putting viral on everything, so I just went with corrosive. But magnetic could also work pretty decently as well if you're in a certain situation where magnetic might be more valuable. If you do go down the magnetic route, there is plenty of mods, either in the form of like you go magnetic heat using the magnetic mod here, magnetic capacity. This is actually unironically a really good choice and will buff up your magazine capacity, which is really important on this weapon, and I'll tell you why in a second. But you can do that. You can put a heat on with thermite rounds or wildfire. Again, wildfire being a really nice option. Just keep in mind that if you do stray away from these 60% status chance mods, your status chance will drop a little bit, which means that your potential chance to apply procs of damage will be lower. You've got primary deadhead on here as well. This is not maxed out, and there is an alternative option that you definitely should try, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is the one that I'm running. It is just precision headshot kills, meaning 100% more damage for 24 seconds, up to 3 times for every single headshot kill that we get. This is really, really good. And this pairs well with our unique trait, and this is the really cool one. So, aimed headshots, aka when you're aiming down sights, are gaining 400% critical chance, meaning that it becomes a red crit, orange crit machine. Apply that with primary deadhead, all of a sudden you're getting insane damage just by aiming at headshots. However, the other alternative build is the hipfire mode, which gives you 60% ammo efficiency. Now, 60% ammo efficiency is no joke, really extends out those magazines, meaning if you wanted to go down the hipfire rate, what I would do is I would honestly, personally, either keep deadhead if you want the extra damage, but put on wildfire and the magnetic capacity, because it's going to give you magnetic damage for elementals as well as fire damage, separate to damage instances as well, and allows you to deal with obviously any Eximus units quite nicely, as well as any infested or lightly armored infantry or whatever enemies that are around as well. However, the other arcane that I would like to mention is primary crux. I don't have this maxed out yet. However, this is a very valid option if you wanted to go down the hipfire rate. Hipfire range, weak spot hits, getting 30% status chance is honestly insane, because it means that you don't have to worry about getting the 60% mods anymore, so you can actually increase the amount of damage you're doing by doing flat elemental based damage mods. So you could still go with whatever elemental mods you want, but make them be heavier hitting mods and gain status chance, so that way you have the ability to apply those status effects, as well as the even cooler 60% ammo efficiency for 10 seconds that stacks 10 times, meaning you can get 100% ammo efficiency and essentially infinite ammo on this gun, which is ridiculous, and I love it, and it's super silly. But personally, it can again be one of those moments where you're just kind of fire hosing down range and hoping that you don't die first. So if you'd rather more burst damage, primary deadhead is probably the way to go. It just provides more overall benefit this way. With that primary deadhead being maxed out as well, you get even more benefits with weapon recoil reduced and headshot multiplier increased. So keep that in mind. Definitely consider that. I highly recommend it. We'll get into the build. We'll show it off. Like I said, there are options. You can also, and I haven't tried this, but you can also try Acuity if that's something that interests you. Maybe you don't want to do the galvanized side of things and you would rather go Acuity. I think that could be valid too. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. There was a bit of a jump there. That's apologies. I had a weird moment where my internet just blew up. But we're back, and like I said, there are multiple builds that you can do with this gun. It's really versatile. We'll quickly armor up with our new dripped out inner arse and have a look. So this is the aim down sight. We've already got orange crits. We're getting pretty decent damage. The actual fire rate is not bad. We're killing crowds relatively okay. We'll grab up a group of enemies, and as you can see, the punch through is enough to sort of get through these enemies quite nicely. If you can get those headshots, it's going to be significantly more efficient. Again, I built this for aim down sights, and I personally like it. I kind of might want to try doing maybe the magnetic build, the magnetic heat build. I think that'd be an interesting trial, because it still does give you flat damage. It just means that your status chances aren't going to be as high. And that would give me way more magazine capacity, making me able to not reload as much. So I might even give that a go in the future as another alternative. But as you can see, this does plenty of damage. It's a bit more single target, and again relies incredibly on you actually getting headshots. However, we'll talk about the aim on the hipfire side. As you can see, the ammo efficiency is ridiculous. I am now no longer reloading anywhere close to as often as I was. And it genuinely is a bit of a goofy, niche way of playing. I don't know how I feel about it, purely because while it can be quite effective, I do find myself, and this is without Crux, might I add, this ammo efficiency. The one thing that I will say about it is I personally just instinctively aim down sights a lot, right? I instinctively aim down sights, and that does cause some issue. Now, acuity is also something to keep in mind when you're actually doing this build as well, because acuity is an option, and that would give you essentially an extra status. And I think that's a really interesting build, but I don't know if you would necessarily be getting additional damage in comparison to your normal sort of multi-shot build. It'd be a hard thing to really see, especially with the amount of bullets you're putting down range. Either way, I know this build works really well, assuming you don't do what I just did and stand inside a jade beam, like I'm about to do again, apparently. See if we can group up some guys. We'll see what we can do about clearing this big group of guys, but just with hip fire. It would help if I had a full round of ammunition. It's not terrible. It still clears things quite nicely. And if you aim for like head height, it's not too bad. Again, my instinct just wants me to aim down sights though, and I don't know if it's something that is relatable or not. I really can't tell if it's just a me problem or what, but I do tend to aim down sights in this game, and that does obviously make it a little bit harder to recommend the hipfire build. Personally, I kind of like aiming down sights, getting those orange and red crit. The crit chance is absolutely huge. Anyway, that in mind, I think overall this gun is really fun. It's definitely no torrid or burst on, and that's completely reasonable. But if you want to be an old school action movie hero with your infinite round machine gun that does not have the correct ammo count at all, like you're some Law and Order or like Arnold the movie, you know, or maybe a Die Hard franchise, spraying and praying Rambo with his 6 trillion bullets, whatever the case is, right? This does fulfill that vibe 110% and in the goofiest way imaginable. So it is really fun, but it's just not necessarily some like meta-breaking weapon that I think is like insane, obviously. So keep that in mind, but obviously with as well, something to consider being that it is incredibly accessible. You don't need an Incarnon to make this gun work. You just need decent aim and a little bit of standing with the Hex. I believe it unlocks at either rank 2 or 3 for the Hex, which is super easy to obtain, and it's only about 30,000 standing, maybe even less. I think it might be like 25. Either way, super easy to obtain, really, really convenient, and I think that's the main thing. There we go, we'll get out of here now. When you need it, extraction is ready. But like I said, gun works really, really well. Super, super fun. Definitely one that I enjoy. I hope that you've enjoyed the build. It is super versatile. It doesn't require any specific elements, so consider all of the different elemental mods. Just know that you definitely want to be building for crit with this weapon. It is most definitely not a status weapon. And you probably always want prime shred on here. The increased fire rate and more importantly, the increased punch through is absolutely a must with a gun like this. Because of its lack of Incarnon form and innate punch through, you really want that extra bit of damage. Galvanized mods, always important to get the maximum amount you can from the weapon too. So consider all of that when you are building it. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of jazz. I'm going to be increasing the quality of these videos more and more as we go on. Stay tuned for all of it. Love you all. Stay safe. Check me out on Twitch, and I'll see you next time. Bye.